This is still Math 20, Section 4.8, Solving Percents Using Proportions. I want to talk to you about how percentages are used with respect to increases and decreases, and I think the book does a pretty darn good job of this. And so I just kind of like to go through that and offer some additional explanations as we go. So I'm looking at page 404 in my book, and I'm right around here. The situation is presented that these two people, Deidre and Steve, work for the same company, and they're both earning $10.80 per hour. And they find that they're going to get a raise of 2.5%, 2.5% starting the next month. They both calculated their new salaries, but they used different methods. Now, what this problem is doing is they are figuring out, instead of $10.80 per hour, how much are they going to get per hour. So Deidre, when she looks at this, she says, well, let's see, I'm going to first find out, I'm going to set up a proportion, and I want to find out what my raise actually is. And so she says, I've got 2.5%, that's 2.5 over 100 is equal to the part to the base. This is that format that we had before. So she wants to know what part of what she's earning now is represented by this 2.5%. So this is what she sets up, and she solves it, and she gets 27 cents. And after she gets the 27 cents, she goes ahead and takes the amount that she's earning right now, and she adds the 27 cents to it, and she gets 1107. Now, what I don't like about the way this is represented in the text is that A, in this case, represents the part that is her raise. And then they come along down here and they rewrite A as representing her new wage. So I'm not a big fan of that. I probably would have changed the variable. But the point behind this is that what she did is she first figured out what the raise was, then she took the raise and she added it to what she's earning, and that gave a total of 1107 per hour. Now Steve, on the other hand, and in this case I think this guy's a little smarter, he says, I'm going to take the 100% that I'm earning, and I'm going to add the increase, 2.5%, 2.5. And I'm going to use that as my percent. And this represents my new wage per hour. So he takes the 102.5 and he sets it over 100, and he sets it equal to A representing his new hourly rate, and then this is the base. So you know that we kept saying this is part to base. Given this instance, part doesn't really make sense because it's not only part, but it's the whole thing that was in existence before. But it's his new wage in terms of a percent, and his actual new wage with respect to his starting point. And he solved it this way and got this. So this is 6 of one, half and a dozen of another. Here, Deidre figured the increase and then added it to it to get this. Here, he added it first and then figured it. So one is really just as good as the other, although many people favor this method. Okay, let's see what it says. Both Deidre and Steve need to know what their missing value is. In Deidre's case, she solved a proportion to find the amount of increase in her hourly wage. Steve solved a proportion to find the new amount of his new wage. But both are fine. But this is what you need to understand down here. When you're talking about things that are increases in salaries, increases in prices, increases in weight, increases in age, any kind of an increase. The amount of the increase is the new total amount minus the base, what you started with. Now, can this be rewritten? Absolutely, it could be rewritten. But the amount of increase, the actual dollar amount, is equal to what your new wage is minus what you started with. And when you're talking about increases, this is Deidre's method, this is Steve's. You need to be comfortable with both. The percent of increase is the amount of increase over the base. The percent of increase is the amount of increase over base. And the percent of increase is always going to be over 100. And this guy, using Steve's, 100 plus the percent of increase, all over 100, is going to take you right to the new total amount over the base. So let's see if we can work through some problems. I'm on the wrong page. Okay, so that was 404. But actually, before we do a problem, we want to talk the same kind of concept, but this time in terms of decrease. If something decreased, if your wages went down, if your weight went down, if the amount of your house went down, the amount of decrease, the amount that it changed, is equal to what it was minus the new amount. What it was minus the new amount. The percent of decrease equals the amount of decrease over what you started with. The base is always what you started with. Or you could go ahead and subtract it first. Remember, for the increase, we added it. For decrease, you subtract it, and that would give you the new amount over the base. So let's work the problem. If a car loses, all right, we're talking about decrease. If a car loses 75% of its value in 1 year, what's the decrease in value for an $11,150 new car 1 year after it was purchased? What is the car worth after the first year? So they're asking two questions. What's the decrease? And then what's it worth after 1 year? Well, it went down 25%. So percent of decrease, that's going to be 25 over 100 is equal to the amount of decrease. That's what I'm looking for. It says, what is the decrease over the initial value, the base value, 11,150. Once you get the proportion set up, it's just a matter of solving. So I'm going to use cross multiplication, and I get 100x is equal to 25 times 11,150. 100x is equal to, let me get my calculator out, 25 times 11150, and I get 27,875. 27,875. Divide both sides by 100, and I get 278.75. This is the amount of decrease, and I would probably answer that in a sentence. So after I know how much the car went down after a year, what's the car worth? Well, I'm just going to go ahead and take the original price, which was $11,150, and I'm going to subtract the 278.75. And I already have that part sitting on my calculator, so I'll show you how to do this so that you can recall your answer. So there's the answer for the discount. I'm going to go ahead and put in the original price, which was $11,150, minus, and now I'm going to recall that answer, so it's second, and then I'm hitting the negative sign right down here. And I get an answer of 26. That doesn't make sense. So I put the wrong thing in. So let me just put 11,150 minus 278.75. Okay, so I get 10871.25. So that's the price of the car after 1 year. Okay. Decrease. So they asked two questions. So this made sense for us to find the decrease first, because they asked me that, and then to find the price of the car. Okay. Let's take a look at we're going to stop this and we'll do the next example on another video.